On this episode of Josh's Car Corner, my trip to Australia starts off with a trip to Mount Panorama in Bathurst. So today I am at the home of Australian racing in Bathurst, and this is Mount Panorama. This is the top skyline, the highest part of the track, and down there is the valley below in the city of Bathurst. And my friends at the Track Day Club brought us up here with a couple of the great Holden cars we're going to be running this weekend. One of them is my friend Rodney's HSV R8 Track Edition. The other one is an SS Ute VE, but they put a blower on it and it has a sick amount of power. So what we're gonna do right now is they're gonna throw me in both of the cars, and I'm just gonna do a lap or two around the track in both. Let's get in one of the cars and see what that's all about.
If you look here, garage number 36. That's our garage.
That's where you guys will be?
Right under the podium.
We hope so.
And everybody stops on number 1 to get a photo, but you get in trouble for it.
Oh, I see.
So they all take off here.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn 1.
I know it well from so many videos and video games and.
And up we go mountain straight.
Oh, there's some good camber there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a mountain straight.
Oh, that's steeper than I thought.
Yeah.
Wait till you get to the top. When you walk it, if you don't realise how steep in the camber, it's amazing.
These are all private residences.
Yep. And their driveways are right off the track.
Yep. They have a lot of friends at race time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So you get airborne as you come over here. The car gets really light.
Wow, that drops hard.
Yeah, the car gets really light as you come over.
Cameras don't do that justice either. It's difficult to explain.
You won't get the angles. Like, look at this.
Look at that.
Yep.
Wine country.
Yep. Oh, it's steep braking up to the hill. No wonder these guys brake so late.
This corner's great. You know, you come in here hard, get on the brake.
And when they come off here, they run way wide, way over the curb here.
Now you'll notice, it used to not be lined in the old days.
See how steep it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is
see the car going up the hill?
This is like a 6% grade.
And there's people that live...
Possibly more.
You'll see the top of their houses.
So
they're right there. See, they live right there.
Wow. The driveway is just right there.
Yeah, see?
It's like you just sit there and watch the race.
And it's just a little kink left, but then you turn.
And notice how narrow it is. Doesn't look this narrow. And look at this turn.
And this is the cutting or the dipper?
No, this will be the
cutting.
This is the cutting.
Okay, you come up here.
Yep.
You got to deal with on.
This is so steep.
Yeah.
9-10% grade up the hill. Yep, and it's gonna get steep again.
The bottom of the track's down there.
Way down there. Oh my God! Look how high we are already.
Yeah, we still go higher.
And they're just, I just can't imagine being full throttle in a V8 supercar up here.
Even our guys, they get some pace up here.
Coming down to
McPhillamy Park. And you'll see why they call it Skyline, because the road looks like it just disappears into the sky up here. Now you come to, there's a corner up here, it's called the Grate. There's a grade on the road which they sort of aim at, but you don't hit it. Because if you hit it, it's the end of the world.
This is where I want to see. This is where our cars are.
Yeah, we can actually park up here later on.
What? They just have a hard time sweeping this corner.
See the road disappears.
Yep.
They approach this over 200 kilometers an hour. Look how high they are.
That's unbelievable.
So you approach this at some ridiculous speed, tap of the brakes, right, and now you just drop off
I can see why they call this like the corkscrew at Laguna Seca.
Yeah. See, you drop off like, look how high we are.
We are
to the
so
bottom.
steep.
Yeah.
That's looking almost straight down into the valley.
And look at this corner.
Oh my
Look
God.
at this. The car just drops.
This isn't even Forest Elbow. This is just.
No,
Yeah,
this is-
yeah. This
Oh
is the
my God.
essence.
That's the S. Oh my God.
So you just drop it off.
I can't even imagine doing this
Yeah,
in a road car at pace.
At a ridiculous speed.
Yeah.
So they come up here.
And you don't want to.
Oh my gosh.
This is where
Here's
Tony got T-boned in his race.
Forest Elbow.
Yeah.
This is the. Yep.
That's it. Wind it out wide.
Yeah.
And you're on the
Hammer
power
down
now.
and you're on
the
Conrod
power.
straight.
You're on Conrod. Now you notice the angle in the police. We'll wait for you down here, so we keep it under the speed limit. We do it right. Now you'll notice when we get down here, you'll see Conrod used to go straight all the way through.
Yep.
But the car started getting too fast, so they had to put the chase in.
Yep. So we're still going downhill.
Yeah. You're flat to the floor. The car gets really light over this
Yep.
hump. Really light.
Mhm.
It'll start to move
And
around.
we just leveled out about now, and we're going back uphill.
We're still up high though. We've still got to get down lower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what TV just can't.
Yeah. So you're on the
just
throttle
the
here.
elevation changes
Now,
are just
see the
phenomenal.
archway? Conrod
Yep.
used to go straight through there.
Yep.
So you're on this. You're full throttle.
Yep.
You don't lift it because you'll lose it.
Uh-huh.
You might do it. You might match your speed to the throttle now.
Uh-huh.
You'll run it wide.
Yep.
You'll see they sit it right out here.
Mm-hmm.
They run it wide. Now they're doing 270, 280 kilometers an hour. That's the road car. The V8
Yep.
supercar's faster. On the brakes. As soon as you straighten the car,
As soon as you
up
straighten
here,
the car out,
you're
on the brakes
standing
to
on
slow
that
down
brake
for this.
pedal. They're on the brakes. You've got to pick it up through here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Tony had his
Yep.
little mishap here. So if you see, Conrod came straight down here in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
Here's pit lane entry
3 days.
Mhm.
3 days qualifying, practice,
and back around to the straight. So what we'll do is stop here.
The first thing I noticed about this seat is that it's power here, but not to go forward and backward.
Oh, yeah,
I've never seen that before.
Oh, yeah, it's got a thing for it, yeah.
Yeah. This is
Okay,
my,
we'll clear this side.
all right, yeah. My first drive in a Holden Ute. It just happens to have, 700 horsepower, nothing special.
Supercharged the cam. I wish I'd say it was factory, but it's not. It's slightly modified.
I love it that we've come to this point in our society where a giant cubic inch V8 isn't enough anymore. We've got to have turbos and
The superchargers and everything else.
superchargers.
This has been an evolution. It started off a normal ute, and then cammed, exhaust. Yeah, just putt
Yep.
down here. When you get down, well, even then, don't really floor it, seriously.
No, I'm not going to even get close.
Yeah. If you plant this thing, if you plank it, as I say, it'll just pick itself up and spin around in circles. It just smoke will go everywhere.
Didn't think the first time I drove a Ute on this life it would be in Bathurst, but
In Bathurst.
no complaints.
700 horsepower in Bathurst.
Yeah. I could just feel the torque and I'm not even hitting the gas pedal.
You just got to rest your foot and it just punts along.
Yep.
Yeah, putts along. I haven't hit this thing in anger yet. And I'd love to on the track, but
They told me on Saturday to wait to do that. 'Cause
yeah,
I'm
you'll
thinking-
get a chance then.
They must have tuned it so it would hold gears though, which is
It
kind of
does.
interesting.
It seems a tiny bit aggressive when I drove it compared to
Mhm.
mine. And when mine's normal touring mode. Yeah, like I said, you see someone coming, make certain you're doing the speed limit because there's a good chance it's a cop. Because the cops they circle counter raceway if you like, and they do unmarked cars as well. There's also there's the person who probably works on the farm here. But here, from what I've been told, the council have a simple rule: if you buy a house here in Bathurst, do not complain about the noise because the track was here before you were. It seems like common sense, but doesn't always apply in other places. Now, when you come here on a race day and you see that whole parking lot full of trailers, cars, people, and you see the grandstands full, you see especially on the 1,000-mile race, all the hills got people camping everywhere. It's an absolute gold mine.
This is just getting used to the idea of driving a Ute for the first time, which, you know what? I didn't think I would like it, but I do kind of like it.
It drives just like a sedan, which is what the whole point of it was. Have a car, look, there we go, someone here. Have a car that drives like a sedan but has commercial capabilities in it as well. Springs and shock absorbers at the back of this car will fit into my car.
Really?
Straight sedan stuff.
Man.
So that's what they designed it to be.
Well, they weren't designed to carry a lot of weight.
No. Some of them are modified to, not this particular model, but earlier models are modified, they call them 1-tonners, and they'll carry a ton. I think by default this is unmodified from the factory. This car's a 750 kilogram weight in the back.
That's still not bad. That's like 1,650 pounds.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I know with the HSV ones of these, they were limited to the weight because they changed the springs in that, lowered it slightly, and then put bigger wheels. So they had a little bit of a limitation.
Yeah, this is the steering wheel I'm used to. My friend Joe's GXP has this same wheel. I always liked his wheel. Now, to make one of these handle on a track really well without the back wanting to slide out all the time, what do you think would be the upper limit for horsepower?
Well, they're running the GTSs, which is supercharged, like not as much power as this. And they're running, like, I think stock, they're running like 450 or something like kilowatts at the motor. And so slightly tuned, they're probably getting closer to 500 at the horsepower at the wheels. And they're doing it with built-in suspension and so forth, and coilovers.
Did it again.
Don't worry, I've done in America. I did that myself.
Okay, so George and I are standing in the Bathurst Museum right now. We're going to give you a little tour to explain the history of the Monaro because it is here. So George, we have to start with this Ford right here because we wouldn't have the Monaro when we were over this car, right?
Correct, yes. Well, when Ford started the muscle cars here in Australia, which was about 66, they entered this into the actual race, which was under Harry Firth. And of course it won, so Holden thought, well, we have to do something about this. So they came up with the idea of the Holden GTS Monaro, which was the answer to Ford.
Okay, well let's walk toward this then. And this came out in 1968.
Correct, yep, 1968 they introduced that, which that was into Bathurst, which that came with the 327 engine, 4-speed manual, disc brakes, and it won first off in 1968.
And this is that car that
This
won.
is that car.
Yep. Now Monaro, does it have any kind of a special meaning?
Yeah, it's the Aboriginal word for mountain.
Mountain.
So,
okay.
2 and 2 together, mountain panorama, Holden Monaro, which is the Aboriginal word for mountain.
That's very cool. So it starts here in 1968 with the first Monaro, and then they moved on to a smaller car a couple of years later, which is right next to it here.
That's right, which is the Holden LJ GTR XU1 6-cylinder, 202 cubic inches with 3 carburetors, 4-speed manual, and it absolutely galled around the mountain, being a nice lightweight car.
Did this then propel Ford to go away from V8s too and go to a smaller car like this?
They did. They tried it. This was for 2 years, and then Holden decided to bring the Tirana version in 1974 with the Holden V8.
Okay.
And then they went back to the Tirana V8.
And how many years did they run the Tirana before they moved on, or at least this platform?
This platform, this XU1 model, they ran it for 2 years, and then they went to the other model, which we'll be showing you. They ran that for 3 years.
So moving forward in time to the next generation, so this is the next generation of the Tirana platform that they ran.
Correct. This came from 1974 to 1978, and it's called the LH Tirana, which was the first of the Holden V8 Tirana, which the other one was the 6-cylinder, but these were the first of the 5-litre, 308 cubic inch Holden Tirana, 4-speed. This was the first ones that they actually brought out.
So was the basis of it a GM block, or did they use their own block?
It was our own block. They actually used that. Built here, they designed it here, and it was actually, and the 4-speed M21, I think everyone which knows about. But these were the first ones that came out, and Peter Brock actually had one of these too. But as you can see with the one next to it, which is what they had in 1974-75. And this is it. This is the car that everyone comes to see, regardless of anywhere in the world. This is the one. Peter Brock's A9X LX Tirana 2-door hatchback. This car, it took off on race day when the flag went down at the start of the race. Nobody got in front of it. It was number one the whole day. Nobody got past it. He won at the end of the day by 6 laps. The last lap, he broke his lap record, and here it is today.
Wait a second, so you're saying at the end of the race, after racing 1,000 Ks, he broke the lap record? How did that happen?
Well, this was Peter's nemesis, which is Alan Moffat, and these two guys were always at war with each other, but good friends. But his car had broken down, so he knew that Alan would be commentating, so he thought, you know what? I am not going to slow down, so I've got this idea, and on the last lap I am going to break my lap record, and he did. Right on the final last lap, even though he was 6 laps in front.
So he did it for no other reason than to rub it in Alan Moffat's face.
That's exactly it.
I love it.
That's the way he did it. But this car, as you see, has not been restored, it's just preserved. And this was the last of the Tirana. Okay. After this, it was the next stage.
Are there a lot of street versions of this car left?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few of the street versions which have become highly collectible in the 2-door and the 4-door version, but very, very hard to find. But they're there, but everyone likes to hang on to them.
And they ran this car through 1978
and 79.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where do we go from there?
From there, we moved over from the Holden Tirana to the most ever popular Holden Commodore. And this is the next generation, which they called obviously Group C. And these cars came out in 84, 85. And these ones they raced from 1981 to 85. And of course, this was Alan Bryce's car, and this was Peter Brock's car, his own personal car that he raced. He had 2 of these. But this was the last of what we call the big bangers, which was Group C before we evolved into Group A. And Group A meant bringing over Jaguars, BMWs, Ford Cosworths, Mustangs. But before that, this was the final one, and it was the Holden Commodore.
What did Group C dictate then? The cars were Australian produced?
Australian produced, yeah. So what raced in Group C, you could go to the dealership and buy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and 1985 was the last one for the Group C.
Okay.
Yeah, sad because there was so much memories with these cars, all these up until 1985. And then we progressed to Group A.
Well, and I think these Marlboro colors are famous the world over. I mean, I remember seeing them on Indy cars in the 1990s with Al Unser Jr. and so many other great drivers. And you saw them in Europe, you saw them at Le Mans.
Correct.
And you guys had them here too.
We had them here too. And this is the famous thing about this one. When anyone talks about it, they say, oh yeah, the Dayglow Commodore, because they recognise it from its colours because it was so bright and it glowed when the sun was on it. But yes, they're a very identifying car.
Very cool. And I think we also have to go over here. There's an interesting story about this this Castrol colored over here.
That's correct. This was the VS Commodore of 1995 of Russell Ingall and Larry Perkins. Now this one here, at the beginning of the race, they took off and the thing just broke. I'm not too sure what it was. It was a transmission or it was the rear axle. But it absolutely, everyone just went past him and they had to drag this, push it into the workshop. And we thought, what a way to start. Anyway, they repaired it, took them quite a while. He was about 2 or 3 laps behind when they finally got it started out there to first place. And it was what a mission they did. It was just brilliant.
2 laps down at Bathurst and he won the race.
And he won the race in the end.
And how long is Bathurst?
6.4 kilometres.
6.4 kilometres.
Yeah.
So that's 12 kilometres down before he even started.
Before he even started.
And he came back and won the race.
And won the race back then. And this is the actual car.
Wow.
Yeah, and the famous saying that goes with this car, I think everyone quite knows about it, well, here in Australia, but probably in the States that would know, and that is, when you see the Perkins car, you drive it like you stole it. And that's why they won that day, because they just went out with nothing to lose.
Is that where that term got coined, drive it like you stole it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because of this car. Because he said, just give it, because, well, we're 3 laps down, what could go wrong?
Right.
And they drove it like they stole it, and they won.
That's unbelievable.
First place.
Wow, I just learned where drive it like you stole it came from. That's pretty cool.
There you are.
That's
and here
cool.
in Bathurst.
Very cool. Okay, so to wrap things up today, we are in the Craig Lowndes section. Now, Craig Lowndes just retired from being a full-time driver in V8 Supercar last year, so the museum has set up a section dedicated just to him, and we're going to focus on a couple of his cars right here. And let's start with this one right here. George, what are we looking at?
This was his car from 1998. This is an original VT Commodore SS sedan, which is of course what you have today in the Chevy SS, but this was the first one. This car started its life as a normal 4-door sedan, and it converted it to a race car for Craig Lowndes and Mark Scaife, and they won the championship in this car. But the good part about it, it's the last of the Holden original V8 before they went to the LS1.
So this is the last car to use the Holden 5-liter V8.
That's correct. It was the 308 Holden engine that powered, and they won the championship. Straight after, the next one after this was the start of the LS1 series.
And then behind us right here, this is a significant car because Lowndes last year won the Bathurst 1000 once again, and he did it in this car. And the winning car at Bathurst always gets to spend a year in the museum, correct?
Correct. And this is a person who's been mentored by Peter Brock, as everyone's quite familiar with, but he is already 7 times Bathurst winner, and Peter Brock was 9, so he wasn't too far away behind him.
And we should mention too that this is the new Commodore platform that was started here after they stopped producing Holden in Australia.
That's correct, yeah. This is once they finished and they stopped in the 17, this was the whole new platform design and everything for it.
And to the rest of the world, it's either a Opel Insignia or a Buick Regal or something like that.
That's
Here it's a
right.
Holden Commodore.
That's correct, in which they call it the ZB. And this was purposely built, not like the other one, which is it was started its life as a sedan. This was purposely built race car.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like NASCAR where it looks like a street car, but it's not a street car.
Absolutely correct.
So George, why is this Cortina in the Craig Lowndes section?
This is actually his own personal pride and joy. This is his personal car, and it started its life red and quite sad. But he bought it, totally went through it, restored it all up, and he still drives this today as his own personal car, considering what he could have. But he just wants this, and he loves it, and it's on loan here to the museum towards his collection until it goes back to him.
That's very cool. Now, back in the day, they did race these Cortinas in the Australian Touring Car Series.
Correct, yes, yeah. They were called the Lotus Cortinas, which they actually raced them in Bathurst and over in England and all throughout Europe. They actually raced us, but here they were very popular as in a lightweight racing car.
So it does have some racing pedigree.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm very appreciative for you showing me around the museum today and showing me all this stuff. It's fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed this little walk down memory lane, the history of Holden in motorsport in Australia. I think it's very cool. We're going to be doing more videos as this trip continues, and I hope you've enjoyed this one. We'll do another one very soon. So thanks for watching Josh's Car Corner, and I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching the show. If you like the show, let me know by clicking that subscribe button, and you can always follow what's going on with the show on Instagram at Josh's Car Corner. So, being the new platform, is this as popular as the original cars that came out, the VE to VF platform?
Cut.
Shit! Now it feels like a real show.